Do I look knackered? I feel wiped out. I feel just... I feel screwed. Not screwed? No, that's not right. I had my nieces round earlier today. I feel twatted. But I really wanted to make a video because I've had a bit of a stress trying to use my GoPro for the first time. Discovered that there's some sort of incompatibility issue with Macs, and I don't know whether it's a software thing or I just don't know. With Macs, or I don't know, in particular the new operating system for Macs, the Yosemite. Don't know, but there's something which means if I'm importing my footage directly from the camera onto the computer, just gets so far and says error. None of these videos were imported, so I thought I really wanted to cheer myself up with a pickups video, but I'm wiped out. I'm knackered, but I'll soldier on. I've got myself a drink. I was thinking I could just eat lots of sugary stuff to give myself a sugar shot, but that'll have to do. So yeah, and I've looked on forums and stuff. Apparently it's a common issue, which is, don't know, blows my mind in this common age. Common age? That's not even a term. Modern age, common age. In this modern age, blows my mind that things just don't work like that. Or maybe it's because there's so much of it that, and everything's so technical that compatibility between, unconnected things is always going to be a problem because there's so much to think about. I don't know, but I looked up on the forums and stuff, and it's a common issue. And the GoPro website actually encourages people to try using a micro SD card reader. So you take your card out of the camera and import them from the card reader rather than directly from the camera. So that shouldn't be a thing, but it is. But fuck, I do look knackered, don't I? I've got red eyes. No, not quite. But anyway, I'll try and be quick. Fuck, I do look. No, I just wiped out. But anyway, it's making me think twice about having kids of my own. And all of my friends who've got kids, I remember the first time one of my mates, he just he looked how I'd never seen him before. Never seen him look as knackered as he had at that particular time. The first time I saw him after he'd had his first baby. It's really funny. Made me laugh. Anyway. Yeah, this is the pickups video. I wanted to cheer myself up because I enjoy making pickups videos. Something I didn't mention in my last video. I actually do enjoy them. Something I should have said. So, which is also a factor of why, the criticism, I just don't get it. I should be sort of allowed to enjoy it rather than feel like I'm doing something that needs to be criticised. But anyway, I'm going to try and soldier on. I've got a whole list of things I wanted to talk about, but I think this is actually a second go of this video. The first one was 40 odd minutes long with an edit in the middle, and there was it bored me to tears, and I thought I can't upload that. But I'm not saying this is going to be any more entertaining, don't I? But also it got to a point where I mentioned a video that someone else had done about pickups and sort of criticising them and sort of saying they should be done in a certain way, and it really wound me up, and I got a bit narky, and it sort of I can't be asked to edit it out, so I'm just going to redo the whole video because it was sort of, I didn't mention names, but it was obviously if you'd seen a particular video, it was directed at a particular video creator. So I thought I can't upload that. I could start a Barney, so I won't. Yeah, so that was a long shit. That was one of my pickups. It's literally right below the camera there. So that video was really long anyway, and it bored me to tears. But I had a list of stuff to. Here you go. List of stuff to talk about. I'll go through them one by one really quickly. I'll reel them off. My retro collect count. I signed in after about 2 years because I thought I used to have a problem signing in, or at least I thought I did. I probably didn't. It's probably just me. But yeah, and the first thing I found was that I had some sort of whatever it was, the retro collect equivalent of a friend request from Ninja Bear Hug, and I'm hoping it wasn't from 2 years ago, and it's taken me 2 years to reply to it. But see, now I'm on retro collect, and it's just ball ache adding in all of my games to my list. But it'd be nice when it's done, and I can actually keep a record of everything. But yeah, so that's interesting. I think maybe. Also on the list, I went into Tesco's and I tried a Tootsie Roll. I went into the. What was I looking for? Cashew nuts. I was looking for raw cashew nuts, and so I went to the world food section in Tesco's, and in this particular Tesco's, they've got world food section by country. It's really a bit weird, sort of Asian countries, African countries, sort of Caribbean countries, South American countries. But then they had a particular shelf for America, and it just made me laugh, the fact that of all the other sort of regions and countries represented in this aisle, they're all quite wholesome, and they were like nuts and grains and spices and things. You get to the American aisle, it's all junk food. So I couldn't resist trying something. It reminded me of like the films, and I had like Baby Ruths and stuff, and Hershey bars, and I tried Tootsie Rolls. They're like chocolate chews, like raisins, and a bit weird. I wouldn't have them again. Like chocolate chews, it tastes like sort of fake chocolate, but. Sorry, itchy nose. But every time I'm going to go in there, I'm going to try something new, and it'll be like being in the movies. I don't think they had Twinkies. I always want to try a Twinkie. They're probably disgusting. My mate went to New York and tried what he thought were cheesy puffs from South Park, and he said they were disgusting. But anyway, yeah. I encountered a couple of weirdos on sort of different occasions. I don't know. I'm bothered talking about that. You just imagine what might that entail in your heads. A couple of oddballs. I've named them oddballs. One was on a train. One was in a bus station. The one in the bus station turned out to be a bit racist. So yeah, that was a bit of a weird one. Kim from Mel and Kim encountered in a charity shop working behind the counter. It was a cancer research in Palmer's Green, near me. I'm positive it was her. I sort of like did a double take. It was like, is that Kim from Mel and Kim? And I reckon that is, because didn't Mel from Mel and Kim die of cancer? She died, didn't she? So it makes sense if Kim from Mel and Kim was working in a cancer research charity shop. So I thought I did a double take, and I think she saw me doing a double take, and it was just for a sort of split second. There was this sort of awkward little like. Did he just see me? Has he just sort of done a double take and sort of twigged, who she is? Unless it's not Kim from Mel and Kim, and then, in other words, she wouldn't have thought that, and I'm just making it up. But anyway, that makes sense. Don't know, but at the end of it, I think I might have seen Kim from Mel and Kim working in a charity shop. If you don't know who Mel and Kim were, then this is totally irrelevant, and you can ignore this bit. Probably ignore it anyway. Anyway, game prices. I saw Rule of Rose, 2 UK sealed copies of Rule of Rose on a PS2, obviously. Sealed copies go for one went for 820 quid, and the other one for 930 quid. So, it just goes to show it doesn't matter what the system is. If people are willing to pay what they're willing to pay, then that's how much it's worth. So, if anyone ever says, I'd only ever pay this much for a certain game, then they're all worth as much as some ancient release on on the NES, sort of sealed and boxed and all of that. Is just as worth as much as a sort of a PS2 game that's just 5 years old or something. I don't know. But anyway, 930 quid, and there's a few other things like a sealed copy of Silent Hill: Shattered Memories, and that's just literally about. It was one of the last releases, I'm sure it was on the PS2, and our copy went for 155 quid. It's like, Jesus Christ, it's PS2. But anyway, like I said, they go for what people are willing to pay. Yeah, and also on the back, I was going to say something about Metal Jesus Roxy's crowdfunding video, but couldn't be asked. I'll leave that. It's just dragging it along again. Just sticking my oar in. I think that's finished now, mostly. Maybe, don't know. I did want to mention something about some dodgy emails I was getting from PayPal. These emails, I keep getting them. They say your account is limited until you can give us your personal details on your account aren't 100%. So you need to give us your details so that we can remove the limits on your account. And these are emails I'm getting in my normal email folder, not even in my spam folder. And so rather than clicking on their link, I'm going straight to my my PayPal account, and there's no limits on my PayPal account from what I can see. So I'm just wondering if anybody else has had any of these dodgy emails, because that's properly fishy. Not even in my spam folder. I'm thinking it's some sort of scam. If I click on their link and add in my details, they're going to rip me off. So I just wonder if anybody else has had those. I'm sure there's something else I want to talk about. Anyway, yeah. On to the meat and potatoes of a pickups video. Yeah, I like doing pickups videos. Who's anybody else to take that away from me? Don't try and piss on my chips, man. Rain on my parade. Now I say, like I've always said, I'm going to whiz through these. I'm already at 11 minutes. First, actually, I was going to do something else, pick up something else first. But this is what I'm going to show first, because it's probably the thing I'm most excited about. I've got a new PS2. I've basically ignored my plan to try and clean the other one. I've got a feeling it's knackered anyway, but I thought I'd just get this. I've always said that if I saw one for 15 quid or less, I'd go for it. And this was in cash generator website, 15 quid, and it came wrapped in a shitload of bubble wrap with a bin bag around it, and came fine. Works fine. A bit scratched. It's a lot quieter than my old one. A lot quieter. But yeah, and I'm chuffed because I've now been excuse me. And now I've been playing all of the games that I've bought since my old one blew up. Excuse me, I'm just going to put this over here because it's all in a precarious place. Yeah, and I've been playing all the games that I've not had opportunities to play, and yeah, it's been good. I've missed it. I was excited to get it back, and I thought, while I'm here, I might as well take an opportunity to buy myself to enter into the world of PS2 sort of higher definition, not high definition, but higher definition gaming. And I thought I'd get myself. This bloody box get my tits. I thought I'd get one of these beauties. It was Amazon, I think it was. Amazon. It's basically, what was it? Probably less than £3 for a component cable. And I thought, yeah, hook it up to that telly behind me, that one there. And I think anybody who knows anything about these will probably guess where I'm going here. It came through the post, and I was really excited, and I hooked it up. And I didn't get any. I got sound. I didn't get any picture. I was like, oh no, shit! This is a cheap piece of crap, because obviously it's less than £3. I mean, how good is it really going to be? But pretty much, I thought, no, I've just basically paid £3 for dud. So I went and tried it on my other telly in the other room. It was even worse. Didn't even get any sound. I was thinking, and so basically, out of frustration, without properly thinking clearly, because that's what I tend to do in those situations. Sort of stress levels sort of increase, sort of higher than they really needed to be. They go out of proportion just for sort of about half an hour or so, and then I give myself time to think about it. It's like I don't think things through properly. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm saying is it didn't work on the other telly. Came in here, sent an email straight to the vendor saying, "Oh, my cable doesn't work properly," and and then went and bought one of these straight away. It's basically an official S-video cable for probably more than I should have paid for, and this is actually, and then. Again, a couple of hours later, I got an email from the vendor saying it was sort of a certain amount of resignation and frustration. I could sense it in this email, and he said, "It does work. You just need to go into your browser on your PS2, go into system configuration, and change it from RGB into the equivalent to the component cable." I went, "Oh shit, really?" I did it and it worked, and I was like, a bit sort of embarrassed. It just made me laugh. You probably think I'm not the first time someone's sort of sent an email to the vendor, sort of complaining about how their shit doesn't work, and it did work. But in the meantime, I'd ordered the other one. I'd ordered the S-video cable. So then that turned up, and I tried that one, and then I tried it on that telly and it didn't work. I've not got an S-video port on the other telly, so this was the only option, and it didn't work. And I was thinking, exactly the same thing. It was like a weird deja vu, and so again, this is exactly the same situation. Rather than I sort of used my my experience in the first situation not to overreact and then ask for a refund straight away. I was just basically farted around with every single option I could think of, and eventually, after sort of an hour or so, I was sitting there just really pissed off, and I flicked. There's one little switch. There's one little option to flick between component and S-video on the channel that it uses on that telly, and all of a sudden the picture popped up. And I went, oh, it was a little bit embarrassed and sheepish, but there's no one there to, I still felt embarrassed even though I was on my own. But anyway, so now I've got two. So now whether or not to use the component cable or the S-video cable, I'm probably going to stick with the S-video cable because it means I can leave my Wii hooked up via the component cable. I can have them all hooked up at the same time. Everybody wins, and now I've sort of got like a spare component cable if I ever need it. But right, a little bit quicker than the last video. I'm just going to try and whiz through these. Those are just famous last words. That's deja vu in itself, isn't it, with Mike Pickups videos? First one from a charity shop, Ghost Squad. Hang on. I thought there was someone walking around outside, but no. Ghost Squad from a charity shop. They have everything's £1, buy one get one free. So essentially it's 50p. I haven't actually tested it yet. It is a game that I really wanted to play, and I've always been tempted to buy it in CEX, and it's only £1 in CEX. But I thought for 50p, the disc is mullered. How I say, in a business, it's fucked, isn't it? Like that. It's pretty knackered. So if it doesn't work, this thing is obsolete because it costs more to get the disc cleaned in CEX or anywhere else than it would just to buy a whole new one. So then this thing would sort of exist in a weird sort of game purgatory, where it's basically just a redundant piece of. But it's a game I've always wanted to play, and pretty much the Wii's made for light. If any type of game is the Wii is made for, it's light gun games, isn't it? Or first person shooters, and and I've seen people play this, and seen people play it, and everybody says it's a good light gun game, and I like the bit on the back. It's got a bloke in a panda suit, I like that, bloke in a panda suit. So that's 50p, and it came with a DVD, but I'm doing my DVDs separately because I tried the DVDs. I've already actually recorded that video, but it was victim of compatibility problems with my Mac and my GoPro. I was filmed it with a GoPro, so that video is on the memory card, and at the moment I can't import it into the computer. So there you go. So the DVD that was bought with that copy of Ghost Squad is. Sorry, what's that? Crap on me. That is it's in the other video. So anyway. My birthday was back in the beginning of May. I've pretty much been spending birthday money bit by bit. Just what I generally tend to do, take my time and sort of spend it. I think I've pretty much made all major purchases that I probably will be making, which is birthday presents to myself. But these were two bought from. Oh fuck's sake! Oh shit. That was my last pickup. I'm going to show at the end. It's the best bit, and I probably just knackered it. But anyway, where was I? Yeah, these were bought with a gift card. Excuse me. Bought with a gift card, game gift card. Basically, bided my time because it was a game gift card. And I like gift cards because they're guilt-free spending, but at the same time, I don't want to buy something that's overpriced from game, which is which is difficult anyway because a lot of it is. So I thought I'd bided my time, and this popped up, which I thought that's a good price, $12.99 for Rayman Legends. I really want to play this because it looks stunning, and obviously wanted to bide my time because I'm cheap, and I've got this gift card, and $12.99. I think that might even be mispriced. That seems a bit cheap. I've seen it go for a bit more than that, maybe sort of closer to 20 quid or sort of 18 or 17 or something. And with that, probably should have had this as soon as I got my my 360. It's a plain charge kit. Basically I've been wasting batteries ever since I've had my 360 because because I couldn't be asked to shell out for a plain charge kit. They should come standard. Why don't they come standard? Akashic Versus purchase. Portal 2. Loved Portal on the orange box. Got really far into it and got stuck and just sort of went, oh, I'm stuck. And couldn't be asked to persevere with it. I probably should. I'll go back to it, but there's one particular one I couldn't work out how to do it. But I've heard this is just as good, if not better, and is probably even more sophisticated. It's just so creative. It's games like this that you realise that not every avenue type of game has been explored, because this is a whole new sort of genre in itself, isn't it? Rather than just a rehash of an FPS, they've just put a whole new spin on it, and it shows that there are new ideas out there. And even though this is obviously Port 2, which is basically the same idea as Port 1, so I'm contradicting myself. But yeah, it was only £1.50. But if I don't like it, this can go into my PS3 fund for because this is about a £10 credit game. This will go into my PS3 fund in Computer Exchange because I'm still saving up. Right, these next three were all sort of is it E-stocks, overstocks? That's entertainment purchases. I entered into the wild world of that particular vendor. First one was a bit of a no-brainer. I always put in the same searches into That's Entertainment's website, and looking for certain things, and this came up. And I think last pickups video I'd got Final Fantasy 2. Actually, I just wanted to mention I've gone a bit crazy with the cables. I forgot to mention that. I've gone a bit crazy with the cables. So now I've got those two cables there. I've ordered one for my PSP. So that's come from China, really sort of less than £2 or something. So that's going to be good, isn't it? That's going to be a cheap piece of crap. I also wanted to ask people if there's no original Xbox equivalent. I'm guessing they're cheap pieces of crap. There's one on Amazon, and the fact that there is only one is probably a bit telling. Probably, like I said, it's a cheap piece of crap. I wanted to know if anybody has ever used it and see if it's worth buying, because it's only about £3.50, but that's probably telling that there's only one option, because all of the others there's multiple options. But anyway, yeah, Final Fantasy, bit of a no-brainer for me. Saw it and it turned up. wasn't the best of, or it's like a classics edition, but screw you, That's Entertainment. No, anyway, yeah, it didn't have a manual, so this will be going straight into the trading pile, because I don't keep games that aren't complete. But that's pretty obviously high up on my list, because I'll give any RPGs a go, even if I've got multiple versions of them, which that would be. I've only got one version of that on PS1. I don't think I've got any other versions of that one. There are other versions of Final Fantasy games which I've got multiple versions of, like Final Fantasy 4, got loads of them. This game, again, it was from Overstocks or somewhere, Killer 7. I had this and the GameCube version on my list. GameCube version, obviously, it's probably exactly the same game, just more collectible because it's a GameCube version. And I thought to myself, I would like the GameCube version, but I can't justify shelling out for it, so I'm not gonna, I'm just gonna go with the vastly cheaper PS2 game. It's exactly the same, but then this actually came from That's Entertainment, I think. But again, what a surprise! It came with this piece of crap. Actually, it did have something in it, but where did this come from? Because it's not an EA game, but the game itself, it's just really interesting. It's almost like somebody's attempted to push the boundaries of what constitutes a video game. They've put the emphasis away from actual gameplay, because the gameplay is really minimal. It's just like using like a crosshair to target enemies. It's just the emphasis is on somewhere else. It's like it's just atmosphere and sort of weird, surreal sort of storylines and stuff. All these odd characters and like characters talking gibberish. And I really like the atmosphere it creates. It's surreal and futuristic, and it's like this weird sci-fi noir, but you know, quite difficult to describe. But just really ultra minimal gameplay. But I think I like the fact that someone's trying something different. But again, it's incomplete. When I bided my time. Get rid of that piece of crap. I bided my time, waited for another one, and eventually one turned up. I think it was the same price. I think they're both $1.99. Luckily, this one was complete, so this one is a keeper, and a lot better condition. So, yeah, and this was really high up on my list. Just for it's sort of like the creative curiosity, you know. It's something out of the norm for my collection, which is the sort of thing I'm interested in. But right, bit more out and about stuff here. I went to Wolfenstein. I went to Awesome Games, and I've mentioned them in the past, and they're really worth checking out. Go to Awesome Games in Wolfenstein. Anyone in the sort of North London, East London area, go and have a look down there, because he's got a nice selection of stuff. He's a relatively small shop, but for he's got the majority of stuff is current gen and sort of last gen. You know, sort of Xbox One, 360, or PS3, PS4, that sort of era, but he's got a fair amount of retro stuff. It's definitely worth checking out. So get yourself down there, and he's a good lad as well. So I knew he had something that was on my PS1 list that's actually a little bit pricier than it used to be. It's still dirt cheap, but I think it's become quite difficult to get hold of. It's CT Special Forces, the first game, pretty much a Metal Slug clone, just sort of slower and more tactical, less humour. But yeah, £3. £3. It's just become a lot more difficult to get hold of on eBay than it is. It's by no means expensive. That's probably about the money. It's what you should be paying for it, because it's still a budget release. But it's just weird. It's a lot less common, or especially on eBay, and like they have buy it nows of sort of a £5 or sort of £6, or in total, £7 in total. You don't want to be paying that much. You want to be paying around about £3 or less, preferably like £2. But it's an interesting game, like I said, because it's a Metal Slug clone. But I knew he had this for £3 because I'd seen it there for quite a long time, for a few times before I'd been. That makes no sense. I knew he'd had it for a long time and it hadn't been snapped up, and I was hoping it was still there when I went back. And it's all there. The case is a bit knacked, but And this basically completes the CT Special Forces or Elite Squad selection of my collection. That was pretty high up on my collection, but with it, I wasn't really planning on making any other purchases. But then I looked in the Wii section, and this popped up like, Duel on the Grudge, a Fright simulator. I know this is quite collectible, but I'm pretty certain the game's pretty rough. I think it was released around about the same time as the second film. I don't know if it's the second original Japanese film or the second English language version. I'm guessing it's the second Japanese film original. There is one, isn't there? Yeah. I think it's somehow connected, but not. I don't know. It's what I've read anyway. But the weird thing about this is the gameplay is basically use the Wiimote as like a torch, and you go throughout. It's a fright simulator. I think the American version says haunted house simulator. But the interesting about this, it was £8, which is a good price actually. I think you probably pay at least 12, 15 for this, maybe up to 20, because it can be relatively collectible, but not majorly. But I think the quality of the game probably takes a bit away from it. And the weird thing about this is that I knew this wasn't the cover that I'd seen before. The original cover, the more common cover, I don't know whether this was first or second, whether this was the replacement. Obviously, there's two alternatives, but this is what you'll get on the cover for the majority of this versions of games you find. It's awful, isn't it? It's totally non-representative of the actual game. It makes it look like a sort of a child's. It's like Goosebumps or something. It's like a child's haunted house game, but it's not. It's like a creepy Japanese horror sort of tie-in. I mean, that's just wrong, isn't it? Because you're going to give people totally the wrong impression. But and that is awful anyway. And I much prefer this version, even though this is more standard, bog standard. And that one obviously stands out more. The other one, that one stands out more. But this one, I don't know, it's more acceptable. It's more generic, but when it comes to haunted house games or Japanese horror games, but yeah, so that actually that £8 is a pretty good price. So his prices are he's got really good prices. I think all this is out of the wrong order. Actually, no, that was right. Yeah, my pretty much last eBay purchase. Basically, this was my last birthday present to myself. A good game that I've been looking out for. It's Shadow's Tale. This is a bitch to get hold of. This one. It's cross between an atmosphere and an aesthetic of Ico with it looks like similar gameplay to something like Limbo. It is Limbo, isn't it? Yeah. It looks like almost like an indie game. You might get something on a more elaborate indie game. You might go on Xbox Live Arcade, something like that. But with a really nice art style and atmosphere and storyline, but probably relatively basic sort of game. But you're probably more likely to play it for just the atmosphere. Nez Nate, who's at the top lad, was doing a playthrough of this until he took it down. I think he's taken it down, haven't you? So put them back, mate. Start again. But anyway, this was on my list. The only downside is it's got a sort of sticker residue there, but this was dirt cheap, or for this game anyway, because it can get pretty pricey. This was £21 with about £1.20 something on postage, which is actually in total it's a really good price because this can go over £30 or £40 on a bad day, depending on whether you're a buyer or a seller. Good day for a seller, a bad day for a buyer. So I saw it. Yeah, it popped up for £21 plus postage on top, and I had to nab it because this was high up on my Wii list. And I think with that game now and the headway I've been making with my PS2 list, which incorporates Killer 7, and my Xbox list, my original Xbox list, I've just got just a few games left on each. So, anyway, and it's a nice feeling. Well, last three, these were all from the weekend. I'll try and be quick with these because I think this video will be quicker than the first go, but hopefully anyway. Astonish A Story. This is £4. That's probably a little bit more I wanted to pay. I'm not too sure of the quality of this game, but I've watched gameplay videos of it, and I started watching a Let's Play of it, but then unfortunately the Let's Player, he only did 4 episodes anyway, but he turned out to be a bit of a racist, and I'm not going to watch any racist Let's Players, so I had to ditch the guys because he was a scumbag. But I think I got a vague gist of the game from it because it's like an RPG, but it's got sort of the combat's like a tactical combat, and it looks almost like the closest thing to Shining Force you can get, because ever since I played Shining Force on the Mega Drive, when I first played it, I've been looking for equivalent games on other systems, and there never are any. Games that incorporate tactical battles with exploration and character recruitment, and sort of big open game world and stuff like that. But they just don't happen. They don't exist. I mean, tactical RPGs now, all of the sort of the non-combat stuff is all done with menus, which never quite has the same feel. Ideally, I'm looking for something which has the sort of like the permadeath and combat of a Fire Emblem, with the character recruitment and exploration of Suikoden. If anybody can design one of those, I'll be like happy as Larry. But anyway, I think it's a Korean game, and I think it apes tries to create sort of the feel of a Japanese RPG, but something slightly different about it. It looks pretty good. It's got some nice anime sort of cutscenes and stuff, but it's just the actual combat. I think I only got so far, and obviously with this guy's LP, and the combat's tactical, but for a lot of the time he was fighting with just a few characters, and I think how tactical can it be if you've only got 1 or 2 characters? I'm hoping by the end of the game there are more characters to choose from, so then the actual tactical element becomes more part of it. But It's something I want to try out anyway, and it wasn't actually on my list. I think I left it off there because the reviews weren't that hot, but I felt that I should at least give it a shot. Last two charity shop purchases. This one I can't use this, but it's a PS4 game. Knack. This is £1.50. I actually passed on this, but then I was waiting in the bus stop, which was right outside the charity shop, and I had £1.50 in my pocket, literally, and this was £1.50, and I thought I was still waiting for the bus. The bus hadn't turned up. I thought, no, screw it, I'm going to go and get it. So I went back, got it, and just as I was on my way out the charity shop, having paid for it, the bus turned up, and so I had to leg it for the bus. So I very nearly paid for my indecisiveness. So yeah, this will get traded straight in. I'm hoping I can trade it in because there's no barcode. So hopefully, because I think CEX need barcodes because they scan everything, don't they? But yeah, so there you go. That will go into my my PS3 fund. I need £80. So that gets me £8, I think. So 10 more of those. That's £80, which is around about what I need, and I've only spent £15, which makes sense. It's like buying a PS3 for £15. You know, where's the dilemma? You know, people who I know some people are a bit funny about it. You know, it just makes sense to me. I don't really understand. Anyway, I'm not going to go there. Nearly done. I've whizzed through these. This last one. Charity shop purchase. This is the best thing I want to show. I know I do tend to leave all the good stuff, or what I say is the good stuff anyway, what I perceive to be the good stuff. Maybe I shouldn't do that, but I do. Left it to the end. In a charity shop. Went in there. It's a weird charity shop. It's just a bit of like a jumble. So I don't necessarily think it's all charity. I think it might be a slightly profit-making charity shop, but it's like an indie one. It's more like a sort of a pawn shop, like a junk shop. Not necessarily all for charity. I do think they give stuff to charity, but anyway, it's irrelevant. In Waltham Cross near me, and been in there loads of times over the years. Rarely see anything. They have game systems and stuff. It's all sort of thrown into these tubs. They're all knackered and never anything worth happening. And and I've not seen anything new for a long time. But this weekend I went in there and they had a whole pile of stuff, new stuff. And this was the best thing by a mile. It's Final Fantasy VII on the PC, and as you can see, it's only shrink wrap, but that constitutes sealed in my book because it's got the old Virgin Megastore price stickers on it. So, and it's got a, it's sort of ripped there, but it's not been opened. And there's another one on the side. So that's legit seal as far as I'm concerned. Can't really use it unless I hook up my old PC and sort it out and then install Windows 95, I think. But this might be a keeper. It was almost like an automatic purchase. Didn't really know what I was going to do with it because she had no prices on her stuff. I showed it to her and she said normally we charge £2.50 for games, but that's brand new, isn't it? So £3.15. I went sold, and I had to leg it to the bank because I didn't have any cash, and came back and she'd held it for me. So it was a bit of a no-brainer for me. And I've watched LPs of this since I've played it, and I always think. I think most LPs use the PC version. I always think that looks so much better than the PS1 version ever did. But that was a bit of a no-brainer. I've got a feeling it might even come with a mouse mat. So I'm tempted to open it up, but then obviously, if I ever had thought of selling it on, that would devalue it. But yeah, that's a bit of a no-brainer for me. They also had Unreal, the first game. That was sealed as well. That was another Virgin Megastore purchase. But I'm a little bit quicker than my last version of this, and I haven't I haven't slagged anyone off, so that's a bonus. Hopefully, this wasn't. I'm going to watch it back. Hopefully, it wasn't quite so boring as the first one because that was just bore me to tears. I'm my own. What's the word? Not product. Test. Quality assurance, or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm my own filter. If it doesn't bore me to tears, then it gets uploaded generally. But I'm going to cut this off before it gets 40 minutes because that's my benchmark of shame. 40 minutes. Personally. I do look fucking knackered, don't I? But anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Thanks for any subs. I've had a few. I don't often get many, but I think I've had a few in recent weeks. But I'm going up rather than going down now. Thanks for watching. See you later.